Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of RecruitMilitary Live, a series of live broadcasts covering all things military transition, veteran employment, mil-spouse employment, and much more. My name is Lucas Conley, retired U.S. Army officer and former TAP program manager, here to help you to navigate the turbulent waters of transitioning to a civilian career. If you're in search of meaningful employment, well, you're in the right place. Please visit rmvets.com/live to learn more. Okay, let's roll right into the show. You're thinking about leaving the military, getting ready to retire? Are you interested in a career in cybersecurity, but you don't know where to begin? Well, join the club. Well, I'll tell you something. You're watching the right show because I got a great expert for you today, and we are going to talk about cybersecurity, and we're going to get down to some details, all right? So sit back, relax, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and don't touch that mouse. You're in the right place. Today's guest is a cybersecurity workforce development subject matter expert, no doubt. She holds a doctorate in industrial and organizational psychology. Her experience includes time spent on Fort Carson as an Army TAP career counselor, so she knows a thing or two about the transition from military service to civilian employment. She spent years developing and implementing veterans initiatives and has most recently been the co-founder of the nonprofit organization Gold Star Gamers, an organization dedicated to helping children who have lost a military or veteran parent to find hope and healing through competitive gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Martha Laughman. Martha, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you here. And do I get to call you doctor? Do I have to call you doctor?
No, actually, I was laughing. I never finished my PhD, so I didn't finish my
dissertation. No. All right. Well, I guess I don't call you doctor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, you got started, which is better than me. So you're ahead of me on that. Now, one day, perhaps. All right. Well, folks, now that you know who we are, we'd love to hear who you are out there in Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube land. Hit us in the chat window. Let us know who you're with, who you serve with, what's your status. Are you transitioning out? Are you retiring? Are you in the National Guard or Reserves? Are you a civilian? Are you a mil-spouse or a retiree? Let us know what your situation is, and we would love to hear from you. More than that, we'd love to hear your questions, comments, issues, or concerns. Jump in the chat, and we will address them as time allows. Martha, wow, thanks for joining us today. It's a rare occasion that I meet somebody and I'm instantly impressed with the fact that they are way smarter than me, and that makes you the exception to the rule.
Okay, thank you.
So why don't we start by share your story, share some of your life experience and your journey with the audience, so that we all know where we're all coming from here.
Yeah, so my husband, about 10 years ago, about 15 years ago, he was severely wounded in a helicopter accident in the military. And about 10 years ago, he actually ended up losing his job, and he wasn't able to work for a period of time. And, you know, our military members, they have pride, right? So when they ask for help, when they ask for something, us in the community, we really try to respond. So he looked at me one day and he said, I need you to help me get a job. I cannot be at home disabled. So I thought, oh, this is easy. I'm going to get a job at TAPS on Fort Carson, and I'm going to find a good job for you, and I'm going to bring it home to you, that I can quit my job and then you can work, right? And be happy. And what I really found in TAPS, which, Lucas, I didn't realize that you were a TAPS manager, so I'm sure you're going to mirror what I say here. It was really disheartening in a way. There was a lot of employers that wanted to do good, but they were offering our military transitioning service members minimum wage jobs, or jobs that were way beneath them. And at TAPS, we were trained to say at the time, oh, well, you have to start at the bottom, which is true a little bit when you're switching industries, but it's really difficult to have an E6, E7, 04, whatever you are, transition out and get a job making $15 an hour.
Right.
In a position with that doesn't really require skill or responsibility. So that was really, really disheartening. So at the time, 10 years ago, there was this big push in cybersecurity. And I don't know if you remember all those CompTIA posters that they had at all the transition offices all around the US. And WIOA, the workforce funding that was available to our service members at the time, that would pay for their, Security Plus or their Net Plus. So again, we had experts come in from the industry, and they taught us to say, oh, well, if you go get a Security Plus, you can get a job in cybersecurity. So I took my 150 service members on my client list, and I told them all, oh, well, if you're not happy working at such and such place for $12 an hour. Go get a Security Plus, and then you'll be making $80,000 a year in cybersecurity. So
Sign me up.
Yeah, right. So I told all these service members that, and one by one, they started coming back to me saying, okay, Martha, I got my Security Plus. It's been 6 months. I'm unemployed. And they started to get angry.
Oops.
And right. And I'm in this position, like I haven't helped my husband, and now I have 50 other service members upset at me because I've led them down a path that's not being fruitful for them. So I got angry because now it's on me and the ball's in my court. So I went to ISSA, which is, if you don't know, it's Information Security System Association, I think is what it's for. They're the largest association of cybersecurity professionals globally in the world. There's chapters all over the US. So I literally showed up at a local ISSA meeting and I was like, I need answers from you people. Like, why are my clients not getting jobs? They did exactly what the poster says. And from there, they really took me under their wing and like taught me everything that I know today about cybersecurity workforce development and planning and career development. And that's the start of my career.
Okay, fantastic. Now, be honest, if you went back 10 or 15 or maybe 20 years, if you were talking about cyber, you were you were talking science fiction here. I mean, this is, talk about a new career field. This is as new as they get. What is the structure of the cyber career field? What does it look like? What's the landscape look like today for the job seeker?
It's everything has totally changed in cyber. If you went to an ISSA meeting, 10 years ago, everyone was older, like really 60 and older at the time. None of them had their degrees in cybersecurity. It didn't exist back then. And the way that a lot of people fell into it was they just happened to be the tech person in the office, right? And so as cybersecurity started to become a thing, security measures had to be implemented, tools had to be purchases, or heaven forbid, there was a breach and they needed to have a response. Companies just started going to whoever was their tech person, and they would kind of learn on the job and, start to specialize on it. It's a very different landscape today, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, today, this is an entire industry, and people specialize within cyber in very specific roles that they play. It's not only is there a budget for cyber, but we really move from being very reactionary from maybe a breach that happens to, into it, being, part of, a plan to now it's really front and center with an organizational strategy. And there are, of course, executives that specialize in cybersecurity now.
Well, I would think so. I mean, especially when you consider the breaches that we've heard about, not just information breaches, but attacks on our power grid infrastructure. Not just, your social security number and your bank information, but there's folks out there that would, no kidding, like to shut down the East Coast power grid. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, you're not wrong at all. I mean, I think cyber attacks have increased by like 200 or 300% in the last 2 years. And so it's like the Wild West out there. I don't want to say crime has shifted from physical into the cyber world, but that's how I think of it. I always think of it as like, if you can imagine a crime in the physical world, like there's an equivalent in the cyber world that's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've got a pistol and a ski mask, you can probably rob somebody, you get $40. If you've got a laptop, you could rob 100,000 people and make $1 million in a very short period of time. So this is a real thing here. And this is the industry's real response to it, is a whole new career field. Now, so I know nothing about cyber. You write cyber on a piece of paper, and that's the only word. That's it. That's the length and breadth of my understanding of the cyber career field. But I get a lot of folks that I talk to. They tell me, I want to go into cyber. And I say, great. Let me know how that turns out for you, because I have nothing to tell you. How does somebody like myself who doesn't know anything advise? I mean, what are the routes? How does somebody get into cyber?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is for veterans that cybersecurity is about 27% veterans are in the private sector of cybersecurity now. So it really is a veteran strong industry. So that's a good thing, right? There's a lot of understanding and connection there. Gosh, there's so much. I would say the first thing, if you don't know anything about cyber and you want to explore it, you got to do some exploration. So I would say I wrote down some great websites. So I wanted to make sure not to miss any. There's one called cyber.org where you can go on there and you can learn about all the different pathways and careers in cybersecurity. And then my favorite one is NIST, N-I-S-T, the National Initiative for Science and Technology. They have a program called NICE, the National Initiative of Cybersecurity Education. So if you go to NIST Cybersecurity Career Pathways, you can explore all the different career pathways that are currently out there and what education is needed, what roles and opportunities are out there. It's kind of everything on one amazing website. So it's NIST Cybersecurity Careers Pathway. So I would say the first thing to do is to get out there and start exploring, like, what is the difference between a security engineer and security analyst and a compliance manager, and like, what role do you really see yourself doing out there? And then I think the second part of it is, at the same time, be opportunistic, right? If you just want to, start in cybersecurity, then, maybe you start off as an analyst, but you want to be an engineer, but you don't have the education to be an engineer because you don't know coding, but you do have a background to be an analyst. So, take that job as an analyst and do what you need to do, in your off time to get the career that you want next and move up. So there's a lot of great websites to find different jobs and roles in cybersecurity as well. And let's see, I have some of them up here. I just want to make sure I don't miss any. One is cybercareers.gov. So this website is for all of you that are looking for federal positions in cybersecurity. Then there's my personal favorite, which is apprenticeship.com. This is a map of all of the Department of Labor apprenticeships out there. And if you don't know anything about apprenticeship, this is a way where you can utilize your GI Bill and get paid. So just like you go to college and you get paid at that, E5, rate. Yeah, you can do the same thing with an apprenticeship. If you're with a registered apprenticeship, the company pays you to learn and work for them, and you can pocket your GI Bill money as well in an apprenticeship. So that's a great tool to use, that one. And then also there is DoD Skill Bridge, which I think you talk a lot about already, and everyone should know all about Skill Bridge. So go to like that map and find what cybersecurity roles are out there. But really, I would say there's 3 ways to get that. Everyone wants to know, like, what is the entry point? Like, what is the quickest path between me and the job I want? Well, first you have to know what job you want and what you're willing to take to stair step into it. But then I think of it as you can do a boot camp, right? We all know what those are. You pay to go to a boot camp. You learn a set of skills. And then the idea is you get a job on the back end. Just make sure that you know what their outcome is, how many people actually get jobs in the field you're looking at getting before you do a boot camp. So I'm not against boot camps, but be very careful. The second way is an apprenticeship or an apprenticeship-like program. Microsoft has a program like this as well. So, a lot of big companies do these days, and this is where you get paid to learn on the job. And a lot of times they have special entry points for people in military. So don't be afraid to connect with like military representatives out there from, a company you're interested in working with on LinkedIn. So that's that apprenticeship role. And then the third way is to go to college, right? So especially if you have GI Bill and you want to go to college and you have that time, most jobs in cybersecurity, you may not need a degree to get in right away, but you do need a degree to go up in cybersecurity. So it is important. And if you go to,
it's funny that you mentioned that, because I had a conversation with a young gentleman the other day, and he was talking about getting into cybersecurity. So I asked him about education, and he said, well, my buddy told me I don't need an education. I just need to know how to do stuff. I'm like, well, good luck with that. But realistically, you said you have to develop a particular set of skills, right? And eventually, if you want to move up, you're going to need education. So let's say I'm 2 years into a 4-year military commitment. I've got some tuition assistance. I've got some credentialing assistance money in my pocket here. What kind of things can I be doing to set myself up for success? College, certifications, night school, what?
I like going to, the NSA has a great program. It's the Center of Academic Excellence, and I don't know if the word is certified, but they put their stamp of approval on these different cybersecurity curriculum programs for both offensive and defensive. So I would go to the NSA CAE website and look at, there's tons of schools and tons of options. A lot of them are online. And if you can get an associate's degree before you even get out in cybersecurity, now you have military experience and an associate's degree. Heaven forbid you do a boot camp or get some kind of hands-on experience, you're going to be gold.
All right, awesome. So are there particular, now you talk about the skills that they need to have. Are these certifications, like you said, the CompTIA, Security Plus, there's a laundry list of these certifications out there, and it's all alphabet soup for me. Which of these really apply to cybersecurity as a field, if you can identify that for us?
So I would warn people that if you just have a certification and you have nothing else, I mean, that was kind of part of the problem that I hit in the beginning, right? 10 years ago when I went to ISSA. That's why none of my clients were getting jobs, is because they had a Security Plus, but they had no hands-on experience, no education, no network in the industry at all. So just a certification alone is going to be difficult to get a job. And I think that's what a lot of people are coming up against. With that said, certifications are absolutely important. So you have your basic, you have your CompTIA A+, Net Plus, Security Plus. Really the Net Plus and Security Plus are like kind of the standards that everyone gets. It depends on the job though. So if you go to that nice career map that we talked about in the beginning, on the NIST page, and I'm using like lots of acronyms, but I can probably put a link in the chat here in a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Then what you do is you click on, like, if you want to be analyst or engineer and what state you're in, and it will tell you what credentials and what experience and education is required for that job. But yeah, kind of, the basics are probably Net Plus and Security Plus.
Okay. CompTIA, Net Plus, Security Plus. A lot of opportunities there.
1,000 from there. And a lot of employers, like, once they hire you on, they'll pay for these, right? That's pretty standard. So.
All right. Fantastic. Got a question here. What would you tell Carlton Powell here? He says, I've got Sec Plus, CEH, and Splunk. I have no idea what that is. Splunk. No experience. What advice would you give to Carlton?
Yeah. So, I mean, get experience. So there's different ways to get experience. And it's usually experience or education, right? So if going the degree route is not for you, then find a way to get experience. You can do that through SkillBridge, through internships. That's on one of the websites we mentioned, through apprenticeship. And you can also just show up at an ISSA meeting. I love ISSA. They usually have some kind of freemium membership for veterans or students. So go there and get a mentor, get experience, work on a project, and network. And I think in the military community, sometimes we forget, maybe we don't forget, I don't know, but I don't know if there's enough emphasis put on building your network. So if you want to be in cybersecurity, go on LinkedIn, find other veterans that are in cybersecurity, reach out and ask for their help. But if you join a professional association like WESIS, Women in Cybersecurity, or ISSA, all of them have internship programs and hands-on projects and mentorships, and they put a lot of emphasis into bringing new talent into the industry.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and check into the chat here and see who we have. Donald Kopatz, transitioning service member. Thanks for joining us on the show today, working with us in our SkillBridge program. Who else do we have in the chat today? Damon Lucas, 8.5 years active duty and currently in the National Guard, currently in an IT internship with, I am not going to try to pronounce that name, and looking to move into cybersecurity as a cybersecurity analyst. Well, thank you, Damon. Dallas Atkinson joined us today. Dallas, thanks for being here today. Joshua Glossop, medically retired from active duty Army and working with the VA Voc Rehab and LearnKey. Have you ever heard of this program? LearnKey to get into cybersecurity.
No.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to check into that. Finally, McDonald Nwanya, Navy retired, currently in IT audit, would like to go into cybersecurity. I have a bachelor's degree in cyber and master's in IT management. How would you advise McDonald?
Sounds like he already has the education, so I would network. So LinkedIn. LinkedIn with me, send me your resume. About once a month, I will post, hey, this veteran's looking for a job in cybersecurity, and I'll get between 5 and 10 people in industry that will raise their hand and say, send them my way, we want to help them. And it usually works most of the time. So there's a lot of us on LinkedIn in cybersecurity that really, really, really want to help. So use your network.
All right, McDonald, I hope you didn't leave the show too early. There's your connection. Reach out to Martha Laughman on LinkedIn, see if she can't find you that job you're looking for. Yeah, you got to love results. All right, Martha, as we begin to wind it down, let's say, for example, you had just 30 seconds. 30 seconds is maybe a brief elevator ride, a short conversation, about 30 seconds to talk with a transitioning service member, milspouse, or veteran job seeker who's looking to break into cybersecurity. What do you think that one piece of advice would be, that golden nugget that you'd leave them with?
I would say you can't do passive networking with people. You can't just like get a LinkedIn page. People think that they're networking and they're really not. They like join an organization, they get a LinkedIn page, and then they just, like articles once in a while or look for jobs on LinkedIn. Don't get sucked into that. Looking for jobs on LinkedIn. Yes, that's great. Yes, apply for jobs. I'm not saying don't, but almost everyone I know breaking in gets into it because they had an internship, because they had a connection. Show up at your local ISSA meeting. There's lots of other similar organizations. Get involved. Start going to these networking events. Join on projects. NICE, the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education. I've been involved with them for years. We've done a whole huge project where we inventoried all the cyber jobs out there, written job descriptions for them, pathways. It's been super fun. You can join. You can join NIST before you're even working in industry and jump on one of these working groups. And now you're meeting like very senior professionals from all across industry that you're working with. So the best way is to get in with the group is join the group.
All right, Martha, before we go, can you hit us with those websites? Cyber.org, NIST, Cybersecurity Careers. I didn't have a chance to write them all down. Break them down for us, please, one more time.
So NIST, NIST, stands for National Initiative of Science and Technology, I think. So NIST, Cyber Careers Pathway. So that is going to be your hub of it's DHS and NSA got together and they did a whole inventory of all the different jobs, education tools, internship programs, and resources. So that
NIST, Cybersecurity Pathways.
Yep. There's even a connection on there to a website called like CyberSeek. That's where you do the career exploration and like what certifications you need. So go to NIST, Cybersecurity Careers Pathways. The other one, which is really easy to use and kind of fun, is called cyber.org.
Cyber.org, got it.
You can click on like security analyst, security engineer, security compliance manager. You can kind of just do a quick little, what is a day in the life of each one of those roles? That's really fun too. And then for resources to join, Women in Cybersecurity, WICYS, WICYS.org. Nonprofit, really, really, really powerful tool, especially for women out there. Men can join too. And I will say, don't be shy about joining if you're a man. We do have a veterans and military group in WICYS. It's probably about 10% men. So feel free to join. And also ISSA, Information Security Systems Associate Analyst. I don't know. If you just
Something
Google
like that.
ISSA Cyber, it will come up. They are the largest networking engine for cybersecurity globally, and they're amazing.
All right, cyber.org, NIST, Cybersecurity Pathways, Women in Cybersecurity, and ISSA. Put it in the Google search engine and get yourself on a fast track to a career in cybersecurity. Martha, thanks for taking the time to be on the show with us today. Before you leave us, can you tell us a little bit about Gold Star Gamers?
Yes. So Gold Star Gamers actually is a nonprofit that several of us in cybersecurity got together and started last year. So my children lost their father about 2 years ago at this point. And their main connection to him since he was wounded was through gaming. So through esports, they gamed with him a lot. Since he passed away, the main way that they've really processed what they've been going through is still with gaming with their dad. So they talk to him on Discord and they game with him every day. So since then, I have found this whole entire community of Gold Star kids, children that have lost a parent in the military out there with very similar experiences and journeys. So last year, a bunch of us from cybersecurity got together and we started this nonprofit called Gold Star Gamers. If you go Gold Star Gamers on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. We do have a website. It just launched, so I'm not really monitoring it yet, or connect with me. And our mission is to help children who lost a military or veteran parent find hope and healing through competitive gaming. We're partnering with the NFL. We have influencers we're partnering with. We're doing a Nashville music event. But we put these kids on stage. They game with active duty pro gamers. They get to live out their dream of being a pro gamer in that experience. They do salute to service to their parent that they lost. We give out free gaming equipment to them. A lot of these kids, they don't have gaming equipment. They may be gaming off old equipment from years and years ago. So every kid participates. If they don't have gaming equipment, if I have to throw it on my visa, I do. They get it within 24 hours and they can game with us. And it's been the best thing I've been a part of my entire life.
That is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. And you know what? These kids are good. These kids are good. I mean, if you haven't had trash talk to you by a 7-year-old after he one-shot you from 700 yards away, you just haven't gamed. So that is awesome what you're doing there. Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, Martha, thank you very much. And everybody else out there who's still looking for a job, if you haven't already done so, go to www.recruitmilitary.com, where you'll find over 400,000 job opportunities with 16,000 employers. Recruit Military is on a mission to help veterans, transitioning service members, and mil spouses find meaningful employment. On behalf of Recruit Military and the folks that joined us in the chat today, thank you very much, Martha, for being on the show.
Thank you.
And be sure to tune in next week when we will hear from Lita Citroen, accomplished author, TED Talk presenter, LinkedIn learning instructor, and personal branding expert. She'll be talking to us about why it is absolutely critical to create and polish your personal brand as you transition from the military to a civilian career. This has been Lucas Connolly for Recruit Military Live. Until next time, good luck and Godspeed.